Hello, my name is Miss Jones. I teach elementary school math, and welcome to my channel, Ms. Math Jones. Today, we're going to be working on our third grade Eureka Module 5, Lesson 6 homework. The objective for our homework is to partition a whole into equal parts and define the equal parts to identify the unit fraction numerically. So all that means is that we're going to be dividing a whole shape into equal parts, and we're going to be telling what those equal parts are and identify or telling what that unit fraction is using numbers. Let's get started. Let's take a look at number one. Number one says to fill in the chart, each image is one whole. So that means that each shape that you see is one whole. All right, let's take a look at A. How many pieces is this whole made up of? How many total equal parts is this whole made up of? If you said 2, then you're correct. Now we need to tell the total number of equal parts that are shaded. So, how many parts are shaded? If you said 1, you're absolutely correct. Now, since we have 2 parts, then that means that the unit form or the fraction that we're working with right now is halves, because it's 2 halves. Now, what's the fraction form of what's shaded? So we have 1 out of 2 pieces that are shaded. So the fraction form is 1/2 because we have 1 out of 2 pieces that are shaded. Now, if you need to pause your video so that you can write this down for the shape or the image of letter A, go ahead and do so now. Now let's look at the image for letter B. How many equal parts do we see that letter B is made of? If you said 3, you're absolutely correct. Now we have to tell or define the total number of equal parts that are shaded. How many of these 3 parts are shaded? If you said 1, you're absolutely correct. Now, what's our unit form? Since this shape is made up of 3 equal pieces, then the fraction that we're working with for the figure in letter B is thirds, because it's made of 3 equal parts. So we're working with thirds. Now we have to write down the fraction form of what is shaded. So again, how many pieces are shaded? 1. 1 out of how many pieces? 3. So our fraction form of the figure for letter B is 1/3. Now go ahead and pause your video to make sure that you have all of the correct information written for letter B. Let's look at C. How many equal parts is C made of? That's right, 10. And what's the total number of equal parts that are shaded? That's right, 1. So because this shape in letter C is made up of 10 equal parts, then that means that the unit that we're working with, or the fraction that we're working with, is tenths. Now we're going to write the fraction that we see that's shown in the figure. So we have 1 out of 10 pieces that are shaded, which is 1/10. Now, go ahead and pause your video to make sure that you have the information written down correctly for the model in letter C. All right, now let's take a look at letter D, the model or figure in letter D. we need to look to see how many equal parts letter D is partitioned or divided into. How many parts is model D divided into? Let's see. Well, if you said 5, you are absolutely correct. Now, I need to know how many of those pieces are shaded. How many shaded pieces do you see? Did you say 1? Because if you did, you're absolutely correct. If you said 1, you're absolutely correct. Perfect. Now, since this model is partitioned or divided into 5 pieces, then the unit form or fraction that we're working with right now is fifths. Now we're going to write this in fraction form to represent what we see is shaded. Okay, so again, how many pieces are shaded? 1. 1 out of how many total pieces? 1 out of 5 total pieces. So we read that fraction as 1/5. Now, go ahead and pause your video to make sure that you have all of the correct information written down for the model in letter D. Now let's look at the model in letter E. All right, now it is one whole shape. It's one whole shape. And that one whole shape is partitioned or divided into how many parts? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. 4 equal parts. Now, are all 4 of those parts shaded? No. How many parts are shaded? That's right. 1 is shaded. Well, because this whole shape is made up of 4 parts or partitioned into 4 parts, then the unit form or the fraction that we're working with is fourths. Now we're going to name the fraction that's shown in the model. So again, how many parts are shaded? 1. 1 out of how many parts total? 4. So the fraction that names our model is 1/4. Now you may want to go ahead and pause your video to make sure that you have all the correct information written down for the model in letter E. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 says this figure is divided into 6 parts. Well, yeah, I see 6 parts. I see 6 boxes. All right. Are they sixths? Explain your answer. Well, just because it's divided into 6 parts does not make it sixths. Let's see. Now remember, the rule for fractions is that all of the parts that the whole shape is divided into, they have to be equal, right? I see a couple of different sizes here. These 2 are the same size, right? But these 2 are a completely different size than the first 2. And these 2 are a completely different size from the other 4. So that means that these 6 parts are not equal. They're not. They cannot be sixths because each part must be the same size. So when you write your answer down, everything that's written in the boxes, the information that's in blue, you need to write that down. And the information in red, you need to write that down as well because that's the explanation for your answer, okay? So you need to write both of these down. Now, if you need to pause your video to make sure that you have everything written down correctly, go ahead and do so now. Okay, let's look at number 3. Number 3 says Terry and his 3 friends baked a pizza during his sleepover. They want to share the pizza equally. Show how Terry can slice the pizza so he and his 3 friends can get an equal amount with none left over. Okay, as I always say, when you have a word problem, you need to draw a model. So Terry and his 3 friends. I like to draw people out, write their little names, right? So here we go. We have Terry. Hey, Terry. Okay, that's Terry. And his 3 friends. This is friend 1. Hey, friend. friend 2, hey friend 2, and friend 3. All right, friend 3, they all look like Terry. Maybe it's twin day at school. Don't know. All right, so we have Terry, we have his 3 friends. All right, so since we have Terry and 3 friends, how many people is that? How many people are sharing this pizza? That's right, 4. Okay, 4 people means you need to cut the pizza into fourths. So you need 4 pieces. So let's go ahead and cut it in half, right? And then we're going to cut it in half again, like that. So that way we have 4 pieces for 4 people, right? So that means that Terry gets 1 out of the 4 pieces. Friend 1 gets 1 out of the 4 pieces. Friend 2 gets 1 out of the 4 pieces. And friend 3 gets 1 out of the 4 pieces. Which means that each friend will get 1 slice of pizza that is equal to 1/4 of the pizza. So when you write all of your information down, make sure that your answer looks as close to mine as possible, okay? Because that is a complete explanation. And if you need to go ahead and pause the video to write everything down, go ahead and do so now. All right, now this is the last question of our homework, so you're almost done. Let's look at number 4. Number 4 says draw 2 identical. Identical means the exact same. Like identical twins are the exact same for the most part. One might be mean, one might be nice, but otherwise they look the same, right? So draw 2 identical rectangles. Shade 1/7 of one rectangle and 1/10 of the other. Label the unit fractions. Use your rectangles to explain why 1/7 is greater than 1/10. Okay, so I'm going to take this a little bit at a time. And as with any word problem, I'm going to read the sentence and draw a little bit to make sure I have everything that I need, right? So the first sentence says to draw 2 identical rectangles. So first, I'm going to make sure I have 2 rectangles that are the same size. So this is my first one, right? And then here's my second one. So I have 2 rectangles the exact same size. Now, I need to shade 1/7 of one rectangle and 1/10 of the other. So first I have to divide my first rectangle into 7ths. So if it's into 7ths, I need 6 lines, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. I have 6 lines, which means I should have 7 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. Okay, great. So that one is in 7ths. And now I'm going to partition or divide my other rectangle into 10ths. So let's do that, which means I need 9 lines. I need 9 lines if I'm going to divide into 10ths, because depending on the fraction, the number of lines that you need, especially if you're using a rectangle, you need 1 less line, okay, than your actual fraction. So I need 9 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 9 lines and I should have 10 parts. So count them. You should have 10 parts. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Okay, so my top rectangle is in 7ths. My bottom rectangle is in 10ths. I'm going to reread the instructions. Draw 2 identical rectangles. Okay, I've done that. Shade 1/7 of one rectangle and 1/10 of the other. Well, first I had to divide them into 7ths and 10ths. So we did that. And label the unit fractions. Okay. So I'm going to label my 7ths first. Started there. Look. 1/7. And unit fractions have a 1 in the numerator, which means the top number is a 1. So every single unit fraction that I label in my sevenths model is going to have a 1 in the numerator or at the top. So each section should have 1/7 in it. So let's go ahead and label our unit fractions. So let's go. 1/7. That's another 7th. Okay. 1/7. 1/7. 1/7. 1/7. And 1/7. So you should have 7/7. All right. And we're going to do the same thing for our model that shows tenths. All right. We're going to put the unit fraction of 1/10 in each section. It's my first one. First 1/10. Second 1/10. My third 1/10. My fourth 1/10. My fifth 1/10. My sixth 1/10. My seventh 1/10. My eighth 1/10. My ninth 1/10. My 10th 1/10. So I should have 10 tenths. 10 tenths. All right, so I have all of my unit fraction of sevenths. I have all of my unit fractions labeled of tenths. Now I'm going to shade around my seventh, right? Highlight it with a color at home, any crayon. You can just shade it with a crayon, or if you have a marker, draw a box around it, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing for my 1/10, just one, because it just says shade 1/7 of one rectangle and 1/10 of the other. So I'm just going to highlight around mine. You can either shade one of them or you can highlight around it with a highlighter or a marker. Now, I want you to look at it. Which one is bigger? Which one's bigger? Is the 1/7 bigger or is the unit 1/10 bigger? Which one's bigger in size? I'm not talking about the bottom number. Which bottom number is bigger? In size, which one's bigger? 1/7, right? 1/7 is larger than 1/10. It takes up more space. You see that? So it says, use your rectangles to explain why 1/7 is greater than 1/10. Well, this is our explanation. After you draw everything out, this is your explanation. It says 1/7 is greater than 1/10 because the seventh pieces are bigger than the 10th pieces, and they are. They truly are. If you think about a pizza or a whole pizza, right? If you cut that pizza into 7 pieces and then you turn around and cut a different piece into 10 pieces, the pizza with the 7 pieces, those slices are going to be bigger than that pizza that's cut into 10s. Takes up more space, all right? They're going to be larger. So 7ths are bigger than 10ths. And you might want to go ahead and pause your video to make sure that you have your models drawn like mine and you have your explanation written out just like mine, okay? So go ahead and pause that video now. Congratulations, you finally made it to the end of Lesson 6 homework video. Give yourself a pat on the back. Now, as always, I hope this video helped you to complete your homework. And I hope you have a great rest of your day or night or whatever time it is that you're watching this video. I will see you next time. Bye.